Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
What happens when you bring together two very powerful and strong-willed women and one man on a TV show? Well, we're going to find out today on the Power Index, a show about women and the men who listen. So speaking of men who listen, I want to bring on my dear friend, colleague, mentor, and co-host, Mr. Ian Pelham Turner. He is known around the world. He's an international broadcaster. He's an expert on the British royal family, and he's frequently called upon to give his opinion and his expertise about political views, as well as articles in Fox and other mainstream publications. Welcome, Mr. Ian Pelham Turner. Hello.
Good afternoon to you. I know it's about midday your time. It's about 5 o'clock here in London. For once, the sun is shining. I think I hope we're going to have another very, very good discussion today. I'm sure we will. Really on the values of women as I see them, which is tremendous, and how to give support to women who feel can they or can they not. And it's really all part of the program to actually say to women, you can achieve anything you want to in your life, anything at all. You can achieve anything you want to in your life, and basically go and do it, and we can help.
Hear, hear. I completely agree with that. And for our viewers and our future listening audience, Ian and I have actually met a number of times in person. We'll be meeting again in September. And our guest today is actually someone whom you introduced to our platform. I think we were rapping with Dr. Jacalyn at the time. I don't remember. But Victoria George-Veale has a lot of experience in television, in production. She's an actress. She's a presenter. What would you like to share with our audience about your interaction with Victoria before we bring her out?
She's incredible. What accolades can I talk about her? I have to admit, she is very attractive on screen. No two ways about it. She's very articulate. She's very thoughtful in how she actually works with people as well. She's a great person to actually support people in their causes. She's very much a feminist, but she's also very much the type of young lady who we need more of in Britain today to actually say, yes, you can.
With that being said, let us welcome Victoria to the program. Hello, thanks for being here.
Hello, that was really emotional. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I don't know what to say.
I remember when we first met you, you were doing some type of news program. I want to say Good Day. What was it?
It was the Good News Show. Yeah, the YouTube channel is still there. But thank you for remembering. It's still there. It was created during the pandemic. And I think there was just so much negativity floating around with the COVID-19, and everyone was getting a bit depressed, staying at home, and they couldn't go to work, etc., etc. And so I wanted to create something a little bit silly but a little bit positive as well. So I called it the Good News Show. I don't actually, it's still there, but I haven't created an episode in a while. And it's been on my mind actually, and I feel like I should. It takes a lot of work, as you know, but we used to hold really funny competitions as well, like the funniest animal photograph, or, you know, the funniest photograph of your pet doing something silly. So yeah, I'd love to do that again. That would be wonderful.
Well, maybe that is your calling after this show today. And you also had shared a beautiful music video with your sister, and that was so uplifting. The two of you were running through fields, and there were all these purple colors and whatnot. And I remember how positive I felt watching that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, If Paradise is Half as Nice, featuring Andy Fairweather Lowe from the Amen Corner. So our band manager is Alan Jones. I'm sure you all have heard of him, but he was in the Amen Corner as well as the saxophonist. And so, yeah, we recorded a whole album. We've recorded about 14 singles, and only I think 3 or 4 have been aired on BBC Radio Wales so far. But the first one we ever aired from the album was If Paradise is Half as Nice, which is a cover of obviously the really big 60s hit. So we did that one first, and that was the music video to accompany the song. And it was a really hot day when we filmed it. But yeah, we really enjoyed ourselves. And we're just actually waiting on Alan now to see what the next step is, really, because we still have these really amazing songs. We didn't write them, Alan did, but we performed them and recorded them. And some of them are really good. I think he has actually tried to enter one into the Eurovision UK entry, but I think that process is a closed shop, shall we say. I don't know how it works anymore. I think they used to have what's it called, like a British, Ian might know, a British reality program where you choose, it's like the X Factor or Pop Idol. You had about 10 entries for the UK entry, and then the public vote in and phone who's going to be representing us for the Eurovision, and they don't do that anymore, and I think that's really sad.
It's actually, nowadays, it's the choice of the head of entertainment for the BBC who decides which entry. I wrote a piece afterwards saying she should be sacked, because this was the worst ever song I've ever heard in my entire career. And I'm not the greatest fan of the Eurovision, but in reality, not only did I not agree that it deserved any votes, but the whole of Europe decided the same thing. So we out of 27 countries, we were number 27, and not one person voted for the song at all. And you know, I think we have such brilliant musicians in this country. We have such great entertainment, creativity, the whole thing. You can see I'm on my soapbox now, because I swear to goodness, I listened to this load of rubbish that was put out, and I'm thinking, what on earth were they thinking of? I think the only thing that the BBC have done in the past few years is that, because of the great cost of putting on Eurovision, if you win it, they don't want that cost anymore. So they've made damn sure that we never win ever again. It's
such a great shame, though, isn't it? Because you are right, Ian. The UK is kind of known for its music. So it's a bit crazy how our entries aren't the best, shall we say. But I think my most favorite recently was Sam Ryder, Spaceman. that was the best so far, I think, in the most recent years. We did very well. Didn't we?
He's now just about to start doing his Jesus Christ, isn't he? He's now just about to start doing Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah. So that's happening in the West End shortly. But I think, I mean, look at all the talent we have in Britain. We have the McCartneys, we have the Elton Johns, we have the Adeles. We have a whole stream of highly creative composers, and they put out this rubbish.
Yeah.
That's what it was. You know, it was actually sort of something that didn't mean anything at all. But anyway, that's not the subject we're on.
We just go on and on.
Yes, a quick digression.
And I don't want to be feeling grumpy this afternoon either.
Let's
We
dig
started the
into
show off on an interesting note.
yes, let's dig into the
Sorry.
topic, Victoria. That's okay. So the one thing I'd like to know from you is you are a public figure. You've done extensive work in the public eye. And so there's a lot of judgment by being a public figure. We can all talk about that. That could be a completely different show between the three of us. But how and when have you relied on men who actually were there to listen as opposed to judge?
To be honest, I mean, the industry that I am in, which you will both, you're both in the same industry as me, acting, singing, performing, the performing arts industry in general. I've been fairly lucky, I think, with my experiences and my jobs and my positions that I've received. I mean, there have been back in the day, really back in the day now, I used to do pageantry, and I was quite a pageant figure, when I won a couple of different pageants, national and international. And as a pageant queen, I'm sure you've heard this before, I received quite a lot of different messages and things, oh, you should come and do this, and it's nothing to do with that. It's not just about looks, etc., etc. It's so much more behind the scenes. You've got your public speaking, which really gives loads of ladies and girls a confidence boost. You've got all this charity work and fundraising, which is actually quite a lot of work. There's so much involved in it. And you can exhaust yourself with all of these things. So, but I think aside from the pageantry, because there has been quite a lot of negativity linked to pageantry, I think apart from putting that aside, as an actress and a singer and a performer and a presenter, I have been rather lucky that I've been surrounded by a lot of positive people, positive males, positive men who have generally listened to me. Mainly men who are also in the industry, the same industry as myself. It's a little bit, and it's not their fault, because sometimes when you're not in this industry, you don't understand it. It's very easy for me to maybe sit down with someone and talk to them about how my schedule is, how my day-to-day life is as a performer, and it's different every single day. And I also run a performing arts school. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's a different thing, but so I am my own boss. However, for someone who was not in the performing arts industry, it's actually really difficult to explain. And I think that's why I found comfort in males who are also in the same industry as myself, because they understand me, how I work and how my career works. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Follow up from Ian?
Yeah, I think in reality, I've always said, and I'm just about to give another talk soon on the values of media. That everyone apparently is coming to this event. I've been meeting a lot of people recently. They said they're all coming to hear me talk about how does media sort of work in communities today. But I think women need to be listened to more, definitely. Women need to have a much more active opportunity to actually be part of the support mechanism as well at the same time. I always say, and every time I give a speech, I always say that, to this mixed audience in the room, that in my opinion, women are much more clever than men. And I mean it. And so, and I think if there were a lot more women in control of the situations in this world, the world would be a much better place. When it comes to the entertainment world, I think, again, I remember talking to a politician several years ago, and in Albania. And she was one of the top politicians in Albania. And according to the people who were the cameramen at the studio, she was stunning. She was beautiful. Everybody wanted to meet this beautiful person. And she came in the room and she was beautiful. There was no two ways about it. She was beautiful. But I asked her the question, do you think your beauty took away from being taken seriously as a politician? Straight away, she said yes. She didn't want to be known for her beauty, although now she's actually a TV presenter, strangely enough, but she wanted to be taken seriously as a politician. And I wonder, with Victoria, you are beautiful. The two of you, Jacalyn, and you're both beautiful women in the first place. But sometimes, do you feel it's much harder to be taken seriously because men are looking at the outward shell rather than the inward person?
Thanks for the question. I'll let Victoria answer first.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, I do agree with that politician, actually. I think when you're in a certain situation or a certain position of power, and then, maybe say you walk into an office and you're the only woman there, for instance, and you obviously want to be taken very seriously, and then you have, a few male colleagues, it does make you feel a little bit like, oh, is it just, because of what I'm wearing or my looks, blah, blah, blah. Is it the makeup I've got on, my hair? How is it today? It does make you feel as if, well, am I actually being taken seriously as if I was a man? And attitudes, I don't like to say it, but attitudes do change towards a woman. Not all the time, sometimes. Again, I am a feminist, but I'm also... I like to think of myself as not someone who is waving the flag in an extreme amount of ways for women. I like to see both sides. I like to think of myself as being quite a fair person. Female, male, doesn't matter. Whoever's right for the job should have it, whatever they are, in my eyes. However, yes, I've experienced that very much when I was in the pageant industry. Especially when I was abroad. Actually, it's coming back to me now. I've competed abroad a couple of times in different countries, and there was one pageant. I didn't win that pageant, but I did quite well. But there was one pageant early on in my career where there was no interview at all, and I was thinking, how do they know who to crown if they're not talking to each contestant? This is literally about how you look in a bikini, or how your face is, how your body, what figure you have. So yeah, I wasn't very keen on that, to be honest. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Ian. I think women, especially in certain circumstances and certain career paths, really need to be taken more seriously, however they look.
Good answer. Thank you so much for that. I'll just say quickly, when I was in corporate, I remember telling my parents, I wish someone would evaluate me based on my intelligence instead of the way I look or the way I dress or the way I smell. And there were times when I was in corporate when I had to deal with sexual harassment, and I actually went in the States to the EEOC and filed a claim with HR. And it's kind of a daunting experience. And so for women who are coming up in the world, I don't know how much of it has changed. We've got a lot of rules and regulations in place in terms of corporate, but it is something that does stay with you. It's almost like reverse discrimination, where you can look a certain way, but nobody's going to take you seriously. And then I've heard men say, well, why don't you dress a different way? And there's a way to dress if you're dressing like you're putting it all out there. But for the most part, we're not talking about that. We're talking about professional women who can be attractive, take care of themselves, have something to say, and are also intelligent. And so, Ian, my question for you, and then over to Victoria, is I know that I hear quite frequently that I'm in my masculine energy because I like to get things done. You know how I am, right? I'm very much, let's get to the point, let's get it done. And that's been perceived as a negative. But if a man can be in his masculine energy, woohoo. So I don't know, Victoria, what do you think? And then we'll go to Ian.
Masculine energy is a funny one because, to be honest, I am on the fence about this sort of thing right now. I was about to say earlier on, actually, I think obviously, women need to have, empowerment. They need to be empowered. They need to feel strong. They need to feel confident, and all of this. Wonderful. And I'm all for it, because that's why I created another business of mine, which was Miss Regal World. However, I do believe it can, the pendulum can swing in both ways. And I feel that if feminine empowerment goes a bit too far, because I have seen examples of this in the United Kingdom, then it can also affect the male gender, and I don't think that's very fair. So yeah, I mean, masculine. Do you mean masculine energy in women?
Yes, correct.
Masculine energy, I think you can have too much of it. Yes. I mean, I'm quite an old-fashioned woman. I like the women to be feminine and the men to be masculine. That's just how I am. I think it's probably quite unheard of these days, actually. So I feel a little bit too old-fashioned, but I'm kind of proud of that. And I think my boyfriend is as well. I think he likes that about me. But yeah, I think women should be women, men should be men. And yes, I mean, as a business owner myself, I do have some very masculine energy sometimes, but I know when to bring that on. I know when to switch it on for business, because I think you kind of need to be like that in business, really. And then you need to switch it off. So I run a performing arts school for children. It's called Victoria George-Veale School of Performing Arts. And come next summer, so next year, it will have run for 20 years, which is something I'm really, really grateful for. And because I am my own boss, I run my own business, I do feel when I'm doing my work, whether it's admin or talking to parents about their students, arranging a show with 70 dancers, which is a lot, I do feel very masculine, and I have to switch on that masculine sort of powerful energy. And that's how I kind of get the work done. But I think I also know when to switch it off. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well. I find it quite hard to describe, but hopefully that's come across in a good way, not a bad way.
No, there's no judgment. It's just how you feel. Ian, what are your thoughts as the man here in the group? Masculine energy from a woman.
Well, can I just go back to one thing first of all? First of all, I think women should be able to dress however they want to dress.
Yeah.
Why should a man decide, any man decide how a woman dresses? Because basically, the more comfortable you feel either in a sales pitch, an interview, or whatever you're doing, the better you're going to perform. So women in this world, dress as you want to dress. Don't be really having it decided by the thought process of a man. I think I'm not sure what masculine energy is anymore. I come from a different generation where I suppose I like to be seen as a gentleman. I hope I listen to everybody's opinion whenever I'm meeting people as well. Sometimes I can become quite vociferous. I was at a meeting the other day, and it was all about mental health. And in the room were about 8 graduates or undergraduate students from different universities in the London area. And they were all facing mental health problems, which, I sympathize with. But I think at the same time, they were all relying upon social media in order to give them that, what you might call then masculine strength. But they were women, so masculine strength. But in actually listening to and constantly looking at this social media, it was making them feel worse about their lives than better. And so I asked them the question, well, why don't you just stop? Surely if something is causing you issues, why don't you stop? And at the end of the meeting, after 2.5 hours, I asked them all, I said, and they looked at me as if I'd gone mad. I said, have you felt deprived in the past 2.5 hours? How do you feel right now? Do you feel it's been better for you in the past 2.5 hours just to be communicating, talking to people face to face rather than on a machine? And I think, nowadays as well, we've become very focused on what might work for social media. But if I had my way, I would stop social media altogether anyway, because I think it's one of the worst disasters I've ever actually seen in my media lifetime. I see no real value in it at all anymore. All it does is make people feel even more disrespected or less valued than before. And so when it comes to masculine strength, I hope I relate to my father, my late father. He was the kindest man you could ever meet. And I think when I sort of remember him, every woman adored him because he was kind, he would listen, he was soft, he was able to support them. He oversaw 300 women in an account system where he worked. And he was there for 25 years and they all adored him. I think that is masculine strength. And feeling like you have to become some power person to actually get your point across. For me, of course, at times I can be, quite strong in my views, and I can contest different arguments. But I think at the end of the day, I hope masculine strength is all about kindness.
Thank you both for that. I think that's an important point that you just made, which is masculine energy doesn't have to be perceived as a negative, just like feminine energy doesn't have to be perceived as a negative, because regardless of our gender, we have both masculine and feminine energy. So I think it's a matter of using or going into what gender and energy is going to help you move forward, which is my next topic, talking about owning businesses. And so, Victoria, you own and have owned a number of businesses. And along the way, people have things to say. And sometimes there are things that are helpful, and sometimes there are things that are not so helpful. So I know one of the things we want to leave our audience with at the end of our show, which is not now, but is the fact that listen to yourself, listen to your own intuition, maybe collect some opinions. But at the end, don't use those opinions to deter you from doing something that's really meaningful. What are your thoughts, Victoria?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. So I run a couple of different businesses. So the first one I started was, is my performing arts school. So I actually started running that when I was 16 years old. And next summer it will be running for 20 years, which is just mind-blowing for me personally, because I feel like only the other day I started out my teaching career in the performing arts. So that was the first business I created, and boy, was I nervous. I was so scared. I remember saying to my mum, I said, "Mum," and I was 16. I said, "Mum, I've got my first class of dance, dance teaching on Saturday. Oh no, what if a parent comes up to me and asks me a question and I don't know what the answer is? What do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with them." And she said, "No, you'll be fine. Just be yourself. Just be kind." And that links back to what you were saying, Ian. Kindness really is the most powerful thing on this planet. And I don't think there's enough of it floating around. I really don't think there needs to be more kindness in this world. Genuine kindness, not fake, because I see a lot of fake kindness, I think, online, which again links back to the media, the social media, Instagram, Facebook. I agree with you, Ian. I think it should all be gone. However good it is, good it is for your career. So yeah, back to the business thing. So I remember that first day, and I started and I thought, oh my goodness, this is such a big deal for me. I could have just done a waitress job or something to earn a bit of extra money on the side. And I did this dance class, and I only had about 4 students, I think 4 or 5 little children. And it started from there, really. And I do remember most of the people around me were very, very positive. All my family support me with everything I do in life. I couldn't ask for a better family. However, not family related, but there were one or two other people who were sort of floating around me at the time in my life. And they were sort of saying, oh, I don't know. There are so many of the dance schools out there, Victoria, you know, especially in South Wales. There's a lot of competition. I think maybe just do something else. And I was thinking, but that means that you've given up before you've even started. And why should I necessarily wholeheartedly listen to you and then say, oh, okay, I'll just won't do it then. I'll just work somewhere else. I'll just do something else. And the thing is, I really wanted to do this because at the time I was still in school. I was only 16. I'd just finished my GCSE exams. I was going into sixth form and I wanted to have a job to sort of earn money on the side for university or whatever I was going to do, a gap year, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, well, why not do something? And to be fair, my mum was a major help in this. She said, Victoria, you should totally do a dance class for children in the local area. And I thought, what a good idea. I was also very scared. So yes, I did that. And I thought, yeah, I'm working, I'm gaining money, but I'm also doing something I love. You know, I did all my ballet grades up to grade 8, and I did point work. So I have, you know, dance qualifications. I trained in dance in other places as well in the UK. So I thought, well, why not use my dancing skills and my acting and singing skills to train the next generation? And there will always be children who will want to perform, always want to sing, dance and act. So I didn't listen to those, you know, people who were giving me sort of negative energy at the time. I have a very strong sort of sixth sense, and I do listen to my gut instincts because it's generally right. I think with everyone's gut is generally right. So I went along, and then here I am nearly 20 years later, give it another year. And it's going really, really strong. I mean, I have overall, I don't just teach on Saturdays now, I teach Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays, and they're a mixture of different classes back to back. And then I also run a casting agency on a Wednesday evening, which is only 3 years old now. That's quite new. But yeah, I have about 70 students, I think, across the board. And we do annual shows in a theatre. So the parents get to see what they've been learning, et cetera. And then we also do competitions as well. So it's going really strong. And it's like a whole big business. This is my main part of my life, really, at the moment. Money-wise, this is how I earn my money alongside other performing jobs, you know, which you may or may not gain. So yeah, it's a massive, massive part of my life, and I'm so glad looking back on it now that I did go ahead, because I've not looked back. You know, the rest is history, man. The rest is history.
Congratulations! Those are major accomplishments. Especially, I love the fact with working with young people and helping to really shape their minds and give them exposure into the creative arts. Ian, what are your thoughts about what Victoria shared?
I think the two of you are the perfect examples of what women should be doing.
Oh, so sweet.
You really are.
Thank
you. Because basically, I've just been having, I have a friendship these days, and we were just talking on the phone before coming on the show. My feeling is that when I look, perhaps I sound like a doomsday merchant, but I mean it because I want to see people win still. That is my major priority. But with things like AI and all the other things that are coming in, you know, the talk is that I talk to very experienced people in different industries. You know, 70% of the jobs in the next 5 years are going to disappear. It's going to be a very different time. And when I hear, where I was talking to these students, but it's being said more generally, that young people will put out 600 to 800 applications for jobs and never even hear a reply, then back in my day, I did exactly what you have both done. I decided not to just be an employee, but instead to actually run my own life. And I have this saying where I've always wanted to be a gatekeeper, never in the field. And in that way, 60 years on, you know, on the 4th of July this year, American Independence Day, for me, it's my Independence Day as well, because I will celebrate 60 years in journalism. So what kept me going? What gave me the opportunities to become a journalist? And then I decided to actually find all my own stories, create my own sort of environment. And in that way, you can actually move on. What you both have done is you've listened to your passions, big tick. You have turned those big passions into great businesses, bigger tick still. And you're still looking fresh. Come on. after all this work. I swear to goodness, you know. I'm looking at having a face transplant or something. Just
you don't need one, Ian. You look wonderful, darling.
More, Victoria, more.
Well, congratulations on 60 years of being a broadcaster. That's incredible.
I know, it's unbelievable. You know, and I've now made my intention for another 60 years. But anyway, we will see how we go.
Why not?
Well,
the point I'm making is that I think the future for young people today is don't think you're going to get a job anymore. That's point number one. Don't think you're going to get a job anymore. Create your own workspace. Create your own jobs. And especially for women, create things nowadays that are going to give you enjoyment, excitement, and the power to actually live this lifestyle you want to live. And I know that's not always the easiest thing to do, but I always think the best policy for starting a business is whatever really excites you, whatever you really think is going to create the most wonderful world for you, that's the thing to do. That's the thing I did for me, you know, is that I tell everybody I've loved every single day of my 60 years at work, you know, and you know, I work with wonderful people. Helena Sharp, you know, my colleague, as you know, Jacalyn as well, you know, the wonderful nature of that. I work with you, Jacalyn. I mean, I feel honored just to be here this afternoon, to listen to the two of you creating what you have created, because you're nothing short of sensational, the two of you. You know,
we need a little Ian to carry around with us, don't we?
I know, a little Ian in our handbags.
Yeah,
whenever we feel down.
Yeah, and I think what you're doing right now is exactly the right thing for the 21st century. Find opportunities in your life. Live your life with passion. You know, live your life with the passion that is really going to, whatever people say. I very quickly, I remember watching this. I don't often watch YouTube, but I'm watching this. One time I wanted to find out what's the future of television. And so I put this question into YouTube, and up came this guy. He was the former director of Discovery Channel. He sold his shares. He made 500 million, and he didn't know what he wanted to do next. Los Angeles called him up one day and said, "We want you to create the nearest, the next big platform for Los Angeles." He duly did, and then he also said, "The best way of starting a business is think of a business that you really enjoy doing, and then look at the Google search number of that business." And so that all of a sudden it turns into or like a Zoom call. There's about 30 people now in the room, and he points up the way and he says, "What did you call your business?" He said, "I called it barbecue." And he said, "Well, why did you call it barbecue?" He said, "Because I like doing barbecues." Okay. So it was barbecue TV. Okay. So he said, well, what was the Google rating of the word barbecue? It was something like about 4 million. But the strangest one of the lot was that he then points down the way to this woman and he says to her, "What's the name of your business?" And she said, "It's called Broken Typewriters." So I said, so he said, "So you've started up Broken Typewriters Television, you know?" I said, yes. And I said, "Well, why did you start doing broken typewriters?" She said, "Because I just like fixing broken typewriters." What was the Google number on it? It was something like about 700,000 searches.
Wow.
The point I'm trying to make very badly, I think, is that in reality, if you do work with your passion, you will wake up every morning wanting to get better and better and better.
I completely agree with you. I think that's a great way to close out our show. Yeah. Victoria, what is a good way for people to reach out to you, and who would you like to reach out to you?
Oh, anyone really, I don't mind. So the best way probably for me personally would be my email address, which I think is probably provided. It's vgeorgeveale@yahoo.com. But if you wanted to contact me regarding casting agency or anything like that, anything professional, then I can pop the email to Dr. Jacalyn after and she can maybe add it. But it's just verbally now, it's vgvcastingagency@yahoo.com. So yes, those are the best ways. Or you can always contact me on Instagram, actually, which is Victoria.George_Veale. Sorry, I have a long name.
That's okay. Victoria, while Ian closes out his part of the show, why don't you drop that information into the chat? That would be fantastic. Then we can share it. Thank you. Ian, what say you as we close out the show today?
What say I? We're having another great show, aren't we, Jacalyn? I think this is such an important series of subjects that we've started talking about. It's very important for women to feel respected, feel that they can achieve anything in their lives at all. This is what this show is partly there to actually provide, is the inspiration and the flip of changing from can I to I can. And that's what I would like every woman in this world watching this show to actually take away with them and come back to us and talk about what might be their issues, but how to overcome them as well. Because between all of us, we have a wealth of experience in being able to overcome problems and make businesses and women more respected in life.
Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. We do have Victoria's latest information, which I will put up onto the screen now. And again, Victoria, for our friends who'll be listening later on a podcast, what is the information that we have on the screen about how to reach you? Oh, we cannot hear you. Hold on one second. Go ahead.
Hello. So Shwai from Wales. So yes, my Instagram is victoria.george_veale. So that's a really good way to contact me through Instagram if you'd like to. And I also have a professional email account, which is not my personal one. It's a professional one, which is vgvcastingagency@yahoo.com. And I think the main message from me is also, don't compare yourself. I think I've been guilty of this myself, I have to say, and also all my friends around me have as well. We, as women especially, linked with the social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc., we tend to fall down the rabbit hole of comparing ourselves to others. This can be other men or women. I think when it's us, it's mainly women. For instance, you can do the doom scrolling on Instagram or YouTube, and you're looking at all of these other people who have, oh, they're married, oh, they're engaged, oh, they're pregnant, they've bought a house, they've got a car, they've just landed a new job. And then you instantly think, oh no, but I haven't done that yet. And I'm this amount of years old. So I think it's really important to try. I know it's so hard for anyone listening. It's really hard, but try not to compare yourself to anyone else out there, whether it's someone you know or someone who you've just seen on Instagram and you don't have a clue who they are, a complete stranger. It's really hard not to compare yourself, but please try not to, because that can really do you harm, I think, psychologically. And this is also why I agree with you, Ian, that social media isn't really the best thing these days, especially with AI. We don't know what is wrong. And we don't know what is true and what is false. So yeah. Hello.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Victoria, for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Ian, for once again joining me. I look forward to seeing both of you on future shows. So for now, as we close out, what I'd like to share is I really believe from my own experience from leaving corporate and starting my own businesses, starting a television network with absolutely no experience, you have what you need inside you. But the question is, what is holding you back? And what I find on social media, even today, there's so much hatred and negative energy. Why don't you look at what it is that's causing you to show up in the world in a negative, hateful way? It's probably keeping you back from being all that you can be. Because I feel when we lead with love and we lead with kindness, and when we're picking other people up and saying, you know what, I'm here for you, you've got this, we can do anything we set our minds to. So as we close out, if you are interested in hosting your own TV show, it's not for everyone. It's a lot of work. You've seen 3 professionals who are here today, and we've got years of experience. Ian's about to celebrate 60 years of experience. We are interested in talking to people who are serious about having their own TV show. We offer coaching, we offer training, but you've got to be committed and you've got to be passionate. Let's take a look at a clip that will tell you more information and how to reach us. Thank you again for being here. We look forward to seeing you for our next show. People are searching for experts every day. Are they finding you, or are they finding someone else? Every day, professionals are building authority through media. We've already built the platform. USA Global TV and Radio. Over 14,000 shows streamed to over 60 countries. This isn't about becoming famous. It's about leverage, visibility, credibility, opportunity. One interview, one conversation, one show, repurposed into content, connection, and business growth. Most people assume hosting a TV show requires a studio, a production team, and a massive budget. Our television packages begin at $1,500 US per month. Professional production, global distribution, replay visibility, built for voices with something to say. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and if this resonates with you, we should talk. USA Global TV and Radio, all rights reserved. Contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.